Hi everyone, I'm Wendy, and today I'm making recipes out of Plant Powered Plus, the new book by Dr. Will Bulsiewicz. A couple weeks ago, I did a video promoting the book before it came out, and I got a suggestion to talk about the recipes. So now that I have my book, that's what I'll be doing today. And stay tuned until the end of the video for my full book review. In addition to information about plant-powered nutrition, the plus part of this book involves other lifestyle modifications that support our microbiome and immune system. One of those topics is our circadian rhythm, which is something I myself have been working on over the last year. That starts with my morning routine. I started using this light-up alarm clock about 10 months ago. A half hour before my wake-up time, it comes on and very gradually brightens, simulating the sunrise. This has been really great in the winter when it stays dark later, and it's such a nicer way to wake up than the blaring alarm clock that I used to use. Then first thing when I wake up, I do a little bit of yoga to get my body moving. Gentle physical activity first thing is another tip from the book to help regulate our internal clock. And it's even better if it's done outside. So even though it was only 15 degrees out today, I was determined to get some morning sunshine. So I bundled up in lots of layers and headed out for a short walk. After that, it was time to try out a few recipes from the book. Now, this is not a cookbook, but it does include many recipes. They're laid out based on a specific protocol that's intended to help slowly build up to a more fully plant-based diet. But I'm not doing the protocol, I'm just picking and choosing recipes that look good to me today. First, I'm having this orange and spice overnight oats, which I started prepping last night. Obviously, I can't share the full recipes since they're not mine, but I will include the page numbers in the details below the video so you can find them in the book if you want. This one is simply made with some rolled oats, spices, and plant milk. I usually have to ignore serving sizes on recipes, as I had to do here. This one says it makes 2 servings, but just looking at this, I could tell I would need to eat the whole thing. So I'm transferring that just to 1 jar instead of 2. Then this morning I added some chopped oranges to that and set it aside while I make the golden green Kickstart smoothie from the book. This has arugula, pineapple, orange, and a few other ingredients. It's very similar to the smoothies I usually make, but again the portions were a little smaller. This recipe is supposed to serve 1, and it's about half what I would normally make. This is why I don't like to add portion sizes on my own recipes, because we're all different. So just keep that in mind if you try to follow the protocol. You may need to increase or decrease the portion sizes based on your own needs. Despite the small portions, I enjoyed both of these recipes, and they're right in line with the types of food I normally eat. After I enjoyed that breakfast, I worked a bit on some recipe blog posts and videos. It was quite exciting today because when I logged into my YouTube channel, I saw that I had just reached 12,000 subscribers. Thank you so much to all of you who have subscribed, and if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. Whether you're subscribed or not, thank you for all the likes and comments. I really appreciate the interactions as they help me to reach more people, and your comments guide me in what videos I make next. For lunch, I made crunchy tempeh tacos. I cooked the taco filling last night, and I'll just reheat it today. It starts by crumbling the tempeh, and I used chickpea tempeh instead of traditional soy-based tempeh. My local grocery store just recently got this product, and I've been loving it. I find it to be a bit softer and sweeter than traditional tempeh. I'm just using a box grater to help crumble it easily. Then the recipe calls for pan frying the tempeh in oil, but since I'm oil-free, I decided to bake it. Instead of oil, I added a little bit of aquafaba to help the spices stick. So I baked it last night and kept it in the fridge, and I'll just reheat it today. But I'll set that aside for a second while I put together another smoothie. This recipe is just called Summer Garden Blended Juice, and it's really quite similar to some of the salad smoothies that I like to make. Mine usually adds some kind of greens, and this one just had a little bit of parsley, and it also had more tomatoes than I usually add, but it turned out pretty good. To go along with those 2 recipes, I also have some pre-cooked russet potatoes in the fridge. So I'm chopping those up and laying them out on a baking sheet, and I'll roast until they're nice and crispy. Now back to the tacos, I'm using these corn tortillas, and I'll just warm them up on a skillet while I mix up a little avocado and lime juice. Then I also have some lettuce and tomato already chopped and ready to go so I can build the tacos. It starts with the tempeh taco meat, followed by the avocado, and then the lettuce and tomatoes. So for lunch, I've got the tacos, the roasted potatoes, and that blended juice drink, and this really ended up being an awesome meal. The tempeh tacos were so delicious, and it smelled so good. So far, the recipes I've tried have all been winners. After a quick dance workout, it was time for dinner, and the last recipe I decided to try was called Easy Stir-Fried Veggie and Edamame Rice. This was a really simple recipe, but I adjusted it a little bit. Instead of sautéing everything in oil, I just steamed it all. I have to say it was my least favorite recipe of the day, but it was still good and very easy to make. The recipe called for toasted sesame oil, and again, because I tend to avoid oil and I didn't have any on hand, I omitted it. It probably would have been a bit tastier with that, but it was still okay without. And after that, I also had one of my favorite treats. I took a medjool date, removed the pit, and then placed a Brazil nut inside. I like to eat a Brazil nut every couple of days to get a little extra selenium, and also because I just love eating them this way. So that was my full day of eating, and now let's get to my book review. As for the recipes, all the ones I tried were pretty good. To make them work for my low-fat, whole food, plant-based diet, I simply omitted oil from the recipes that called for it. Looking through the rest of the recipes, there's several more that I'd like to try. There's more smoothies that look good, and several soups that I'd like to try, like this curry carrot soup, cannellini and parsnip soup. There's also a minestrone. There's a buckwheat granola, and there's another one that looks good called Miso-licious vegetable pasta, sweet potato lentil curry, and then there's also multiple energy bite recipes. So there's a lot of different variety in here and lots of recipes that look good. All of the recipes are loaded with plants and are easily made to fit within my low-fat, whole food, plant-based diet. Many of the recipes do include oil and there's some nuts and seeds, but it's easy to adjust this if you wanted to. A lot of the recipes also call for salt as an option, but again, you can easily leave that out. The last thing I want to mention about the recipes is that there are some options included for adding a few animal products. The intention behind this book was to appeal to a wide audience from vegans to carnivores and everyone in between. So while the base of each recipe is 100% plant-based, the animal products are added as an option. I know this can be frustrating when you're already 100% plant-based, but the idea behind the book wasn't to be preaching to the choir. It was to try to bring more people in. I recently made another video on this topic where I talk about how to adjust recipes to fit within your diet, so I'll put a link here to that in case you want to check it out. As for the book itself, I enjoyed it. As someone who tries to stay on top of the latest nutrition research, a lot of it was information I already knew. But this book is so much more than just nutrition. In addition to the latest research on gut health and how diet influences our microbiome, inflammation, and the immune system, it also covers other lifestyle factors that we can modify to improve our overall health. My personal favorite was the section on circadian rhythm. There's also information about toxins in our environment, suggestions for strategic supplementation, and the newest ways we're learning how interconnected the gut and brain are. Finally, the book includes the Plant Powered Plus protocol, which takes you through a progressive program to help implement the various strategies for optimizing your health, which were covered throughout the book. As I mentioned earlier, the recipes included in the book are part of this protocol, helping you to build upon whatever diet you're starting from and continue improving your health incrementally. I would recommend this book for anyone interested in improving their health, whether they're already plant-based or not. Nutrition plays a huge role in our health, but there's so much more, and this book covers ways that we can tweak different lifestyle modifications to optimize our overall well-being. I hope you'll leave a comment and hit the thumbs up if you liked this video, and if you've already checked out Plant Powered Plus, let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.